Tonight's discussion is about the decision handed down in the LBRY case, because there is a tremendous amount of FUD out there and confusion about what this case is and what this case isn't. What does this case mean to XRP holders in the Ripple case? And we're going to talk about that right now. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go right through the decision very quickly in the next 15 minutes, okay? And the first thing is that we have a judge that is in his 80s, and he is deciding this thing called cryptocurrencies and blockchain. And what he does at first, look what he writes. Right at the very beginning, he says, the nascent technology known as blockchain operates in the background of this dispute. It's not at the background. It's at the forefront of American innovation, what's going on. But he treats it as an afterthought. That's the first sign. As soon as I read that, I was like, oh shit, this isn't going to go well. So we move on next. And what do we see? We see something that XRP holders are going to start getting worried about if they think this case is going to be used as some kind of precedent. You see there that the LBRY co-founders went through some angel investors. It wasn't like an ICO. And look, they spent half of their pre-mined tokens on various transactions. Sounds a little similar, doesn't it? Ripple has sold XRP and things of that nature for their operations. Let's go on next. What do we see? We see the same exact thing here. The SEC sued LBRY, claiming that the LBC token is an unregistered security, that they didn't register it, and they seek disgorgement and injunctive relief and civil penalties. The same exact thing that they're alleging against Ripple, except in Ripple, they charge the two executives as individuals. Next in the decision, we see something very important for you to understand. You notice how the judge writes, the First Circuit has broken the Howey test into three parts. This case is in New Hampshire. It is part of the First Circuit. The XRP Ripple case is in New York. It is part of the Second Circuit. And you see here something very important to understand, everybody. In this case, LBRY, much to my dismay, they chose, and through their attorneys, when I say LBRY, I don't mean the executives, good people and all that, but their attorneys chose to concede the first two elements of the Howey test. The Howey test is a three-pronged test. So going into the argument, going into the summary judgment, the LBRY lawyers gave up 2/3 of the test, right? The first test is an investment. The second prong of the test is in a common enterprise. And then the third prong of the test is that it is a reasonable expectation of profits derived from the profits of others. And so this whole case came down to that third prong, something that you cannot compare this case to the Ripple case because of that fact alone. They're going to claim, the SEC is going to take this and they're going to quote it in verse, a long quote, and say, look, Judge Torres, this is what this New Hampshire judge in the First Circuit said. Okay, that's what the SEC is going to do. Remember, the SEC has this case in New Hampshire. Why did they go to little New Hampshire? Why did they pick a little LBRY company that raised $250,000+? That's all, with all the billions of pump and dump schemes, of all the fraud going on in this country. What do? They go to New Hampshire and they pick a company that raised $200,000. Why? Because they had a favorable judge and they wanted to get a favorable ruling. And they have a case called Dragon Chain in the Ninth Circuit. And they have the case, the Ripple case, in the Second Circuit. As I've been saying on crypto law for 2 years, it's a war. They're coming after crypto, and they're coming in different avenues, in different attacks, in different circuits, in different courts. Okay, but again, the people don't listen to the people who say, oh, this is a death kill for Ripple, because it's not.